Nitin?
Thank you, Shraddha. It's a glad welcome we bring to you to in this morning, filled with the desires, hopes, and dreams we all share. Now, I request our McMatch President, Mr. Nishchit, to deliver the inaugural address and formally welcome the gathering.
Hello and very good morning to all. A very warm welcome to this absolutely beautiful, auspicious occasion that brings so many special people like you. Young minds are like sponges and they are looking for the right input to soak it. It is with great pleasure I initiate welcome you to this program. I cordially welcome our chief guest of the day, Dr. G.R. Srinivas, a person indeed honorable and someone we are sure that you enjoy his address as much as we will enjoy speaking to you. I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. G. L. Ishwar Prasad, who brings out the right amount of enthusiasm and his ventures makes us feel at home. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
When it comes to molding the young mind, there is no one better than our beloved HOD, Dr. C.R. Rajshekhar, as he has a snapshot of the way today's youth thinks, elite as he is. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Nishchit.
Also, I would like to welcome our pillar of support, Professor Shivram H.P., Coordinator, McMite, to this function. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I extend my heartfelt welcome to our Dean Academics, Dr. Divakar Shetty, heads of various departments, teaching and non-teaching staff. I heartily welcome you all to this program. Last but not the least, I welcome you all to my dear friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishchit. We will proceed with the virtual lighting of the lamp as a symbol of auspicious inauguration to this event. Thank you all. May I now request Professor Shivram, Coordinator of McMatch, to present the annual report.
Good morning, one and all. Respected chief guests, our principal, HODs, dear faculties and student friends. I would like to present the annual report of activities carried out at the Department of Mechanical Engineering. It comprises the contributions and achievements of students and faculties to uphold the ethos of the department during the academic year 2019-20. I'm very much happy to mention that NBA accreditation status extended to further 3 academic years, that is till 36-2023 to Department of Mechanical Engineering. A two-day global conference on advanced, smart and sustainable technologies in engineering was organized by Department of Mechanical Engineering on 30th and 31st January 2020. Global conference was jointly organized by MITE and AICT New Delhi. The conference was inaugurated by Chief Guest Dr. Prahalad V, National University of Singapore. The program was presided by Mr. Rajesh Chauta, Chairman, Rajalakshmi Education Trust, Mangalore. The department student association called MECMITES had inaugurated by Dr. Rajiv Kumar Mistry, Deputy General Manager, Adani Power Training and Research Institute at Udupi Corporation Limited on the 20th September 2019. On the same day, talk on career opportunities for mechanical engineering graduates for the department students delivered by the chief guest. Society of Automotive Engineering Collegiate Club of MITE was inaugurated by Mr. Girish Prabhu, founder and CEO, Guts Mech Academy, Bangalore on the 11th October 2019. Department of Mechanical Engineering organized technical talk for the benefit of students and faculty community. Technical talk on Industry 4.0 was organized on the 13th September 2019. Mr. Santosh MS, Senior Manager, Sales, IDAC India Private Limited was the resource person. On the 7th August 2019, technical talk on failure analysis was organized. Dr. Sudhakar KV, Metallurgical and Materials Engineering, Montana Technological University, Montana was the resource person. On the 21st February 2020, talk on use of modern tool in a wire arc additive manufacturing was organized. Dr. Vijesh V, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, NMA MIT NITE was the speaker. A webinar on application of artificial intelligence to mechanical engineering and its allied engineering streams problem was delivered by Dr. Jai Bharti Simha, Chief Technical Officer, Director, Abiba Systems, Bangalore, India on the 8th July 2020. On the 25th June 2020, a webinar on semiconductor and their manufacturing process and usage in industry and overview was organized. Mr. Varun S. Gupta, Documentation Engineer, Akrite iTech Solution, Bangalore was the resource person. Department of Mechanical Engineering organized career guidance talks for the benefit of students. Session on management of project in multidisciplinary environment was held on 20th August 2019. Our proud alumni, Mr. Vishal Vijay Kumar, Planning Engineer, Descon, ADNOC, Abu Dhabi was the resource person. On the 23rd September 2019, a talk on opportunities through GATE exam was organized. Mr. Anand Pai, Apex, Mangalore was the resource person. A talk on societal and environmental context and ethics of engineering practice was organized on 1st October 2019. Our distinguished alumni, Mr. Junaid Fiaz, Commission Engineer, Saudi Arabia, was invited as the speaker. A talk on industry expectation from mechanical engineering graduates was organized on 26th October 2019. Mr. Santosh Rao, General Manager, Toyota Industry Engine India Private Limited, Bangalore was the expert. On the 12th November 2019, a talk on current market scenario of freshers in industry and career guidance was organized. Mr. Sundaraju GD, founder, Paper Mechanics, Bangalore was the resource person. Department of Mechanical Engineering organized workshops on recent technologies. A two-day workshop on MATLAB-based mechanical engineering applications was arranged during 3rd and 4th of October 2019. Dr. M.M. Nadakatti and Dr. Arun Kumar P., Professors, Department of Mechanical Engineering, KLGIT Belgaum was the experts. A two-day Today workshop on OrthoVault was conducted in association with SAE Collegiate of Might. The resource persons were Mr. Girish Babu, founder and CEO, GUTS Academy Bangalore, and Mr. Arish M. Chana, designer, Chana Engineering Private Limited, Bangalore. A two-day workshop was organized on 15th and 16th of November 2019 for the students on the theme Innovation Boot Camp based on IoT. Mr. Jagmohan Nehar, Engineers, Sci-Fi Labs, Bangalore, was the resource person. A two-day workshop on IoT applied to sustainable technologies was conducted on 2nd and 3rd November 2019. Mr. Shreyas K and Mr. Aditya, Engineers, FluxGen Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore, were the resource persons. Our students visited industries such as Baruka Power Corporation Limited, Nidle plant on 8th August 2019, and Lamina Foundries and Nitte plant on 16th October 2019. Our student achievements and awards. Ms. Sanmati Shrikant Pachil has scored 9.45 CGPA and stood top in university examination and bagged 11 gold medals in VTU 19th annual convocation. The team Ultimas Racing participated in India Karting Race 2020 organized by ISIE India from 21st to 25th January 2020 at RPM Circuit Bhopal. The vehicle named Garuda V6.0 awarded by Future Award and received cash prize of in the event. The team Nitrox Racing participated in SAE Baha India competition during 6th to 8th March 2020 at Chitkara University, Punjab. The team Octan Racing participated in the competition held at National Institute of Design, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, and stood at 4th position in the overall championship. Department students won 6th prize in the state level project competition called Anvekshana 2020, a science and engineering fair with innovative projects to serve the society for their innovative work on arecanut plucking machine. Our student has won first prize in the state level project competition Avishka 2020, sponsored by TechWipcell of VTU Belagavi for their innovative work on medical emergency drone. 5 student projects was funded by Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology, KSCST, Government of Karnataka, and 2 student project was funded by VTU for the academic year 2019-20. Our student has won the Best Project Award 2020 in the state level project competition conducted by KSCST, Government of Karnataka, for their innovative work on remote operated arecanut plucking and spraying machine. Department students got placed in the reputed companies like SLK Software, IBM, UL Technology Solutions Private Limited, TCS, Peterfox Media, QSpider, Alpha 9 Marine Services, Blackrock Technologies, Infosys, and Silver Peak, and many more. 4 papers were presented in the global conferences by the department students. Our students were positively participated in more than 30 events like paper presentation, quiz, sports, cultural, advanced vehicle building, etc., organized by the various engineering colleges, university, and clubs. Vinny Kishore, Suresh Chandra MC, and Chinmay B won first prize for the paper titled Pedal Operated Groundnet and Maze Stripper at MIT Manipal held during 9th to 12th of October 2019. More than 150 students were opted different NPTEL, Coursera online courses and successfully completed certification course during this pandemic situation. The student project exhibition Innovation 2019 for the academic year 2019-20 was scheduled on the 13th July 2020. Mr. Narendra K.S., Deputy Manager, Toyota Industries Engine Private Limited, Bangalore, and Mr. Gangadhar, Senior Manager, Associate Director, Applied Materials India Private Limited, Bangalore, were invited as the experts to evaluate projects. Faculty achievements, patent granted to our beloved head of the department, Dr. C.R. Rajshekhar, for his innovative research work titled A Piston for Creating Turbulence in Combustion Chamber. Project proposals of Professor Mohan Kumar and Professor Sunil Kumar MR have been sponsored for further development of prototype under the scheme of KSCST Faculty Development Program in the year 2019-20. 28 papers were published in the reputed SCI Scoopus Index Journal, 2 books chapters published in the reputed publishers, and 26 papers were presented in the international conferences by the department faculties. Department faculties undergone more than 47 faculty development programs and workshops organized by reputed institutions. Department received around 14 lakh rupees grant to modernize the material testing lab under the MODROP scheme AICT in New Delhi. I congratulate each of you for upholding the reputation of Mechanical Engineering Department. I thank one and all for patience hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for walking us through the various achievements of the department. Now, may I request Mr. Muhammad Sahil, Secretary of MechMites, to introduce the guest speaker.
Good morning, one and all. Myself, Muhammad Sahil, and I am here to give introduction about Dr. Srinivas, our speaker for the day. Dr. Srinivas received his PhD from Bangalore, Center for Product Design and Manufacturing, and then post-graduation from IIT Kharagpur. His work resulted in 32 peer-reviewed journal technical papers, 1 US patent, 10 international conference publication, and 12 invited talks. In the past, he worked for automotive and tractor industry, was responsible for delivering various automotive systems and subsystems. He has over 20 years of research and product development experience. His research area included computer-aided engineering in product design and data science in automotive product development, multidisciplinary design optimization, automotive safety and impact engineering, reciprocating diesel engines, electric and autonomous vehicles, and biomedical implants. He received more than 7 Best Performer Award and 1 Patent Award for the contribution in the area of new product design and development. In his previous roles, he was responsible for developing various vehicle powertrain system and subsystem for automotive, farm and marine application. Presently, he is responsible for developing the framework, technical case studies on product development and process for technical capability building and technical assessment for Mahindra Research Valley as an engineering leader. Teaches industry-specific case studies on data science and AI applied to mobility engineering at Tech India as an adjunct faculty. This was a small introduction about our today's chief guest, Dr. Srinivas. It's an honor having you amongst us, sir. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Sahil, for introducing our guest to the gathering. May I now request our guest, Dr. G.R. Srinivas, to speak a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, please proceed, sir. Very good morning.
Great. Very good. So, I would like to congratulate the college management, principal sir, his deputies, professors, students, especially students who are there today to, that's very curious to listen, what's happening around in the industries and what kind of technologies, emerging technologies and disruptions happening. So they're very curious to listen. So I'm very thankful, and I also noticed that this college has done a lot of advancements. I could see last 10 minutes, 15 minutes when you are presenting, I could see a lot of advancements in various areas of engineering. So a lot of accomplishments, awards your students could get. and we're very happy to come here as a invited speaker. So the next, without wasting much of the time, I would like to utilize the time to share my thoughts. So with this, I want to get into the main course of our topic. So that so thanks. Yeah, because shortage of time, so we'll get into the topic as soon as possible. So I just thought I will limit my lecture, general lecture, and we'll get into the topic. So
Yes, we'll continue. Yeah. Kamal, please proceed. Niranjan Kamal.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. May I now request our beloved HOD, Dr. C.R. Rajshekhar, to address the gathering.
Chief guest of today's program, Dr. G.R. Srinivas, respected principal of our institution, respected Dean Academics, my dear professors, my dear student friends. Very good morning to you all. Today I am very happy to see a lot of achievements from your seniors as well as you. All these things happened only within 6 months, in the first odd semester only. So very good number of activities you organized and you brought knowledge to the department as well as to the institution. First of all, I would like to congratulate Ms. Sanmati Patil for having secured first rank from the VTU, and she brought very good name to the department as well as university. Getting first rank, that in mechanical department is not easy, that too from girl, because mechanical department is the course in every college, almost in 228 colleges it is there. So among all these things, you stood first. So congratulations to you, Ms. Sanmati. Moving further, congratulations to my all student friends, those who participated in this Avishkar team, then Team Ultimas, Team Octane Racing, and Best Project of the Year team. Many more are there. To name it is a very big one. So congratulations to you all. Please keep continuing such kind of activities. Department is there to support in all good activities. With the help of our principal as well as management, we are all supporting you for all your good activities. So officially, I would like to welcome all my third semester students to the branch. Welcome to you all. Then I would like to congratulate the new office bearers, Mr. Nishchit, Mohammad Sahil, then Yelbon, along with other office bearers for the next academic year. Lot of responsibility is there on you, my dear friends, because in the previous year, you could see good number of activities. So you have to continue such kind of activities. Even though this pandemic situation is there, you can plan in a better way. Our students are well united, even to design the vehicle, fabricate, starting from second year to final year. They're all in the group, they are well united, and together they are working for the development of their knowledge as well as to bring the good name to the department. We have seen this recession in this automobile sector even before this pandemic situation. So because of this, many engineers or the workforce lost their jobs because of the recession in automobile sector. But the pandemic situation brought a new dimension to all of us, because everyone wanted to maintain the social distance even when they want to travel. Now everyone, instead of moving in the common facility, transportation facility, they would like to have their own vehicle. In the coming days, you can see there is a good number of development in the automobile sector, because everyone wanted to have his own vehicle, his own family vehicle. So good number of vehicles may come to the road, then very boom will be there for the coming days for the automobile sector. So we are once again here, the engines, it may get replaced by battery in the coming days. So mechanical engineers do have very good job opportunities in battery management system, battery thermal management system. Today's topic is Dr. Srinivas is going to speak about electric vehicles. So how good opportunities are there for the mechanical engineers. So my dear students, just getting a degree of a mechanical engineering will not sufficient. How good you are, what are the skills you developed. So skill development is very, very important apart from your degree. So second year students, it is better to have modeling skills. So you can go through some AutoCAD or NXCAD, RopeCAD. So that's what we are providing in the in-house in our Siemens laboratory itself. Please make use of this facility. Then third year students, it is better to go through analysis software, maybe ANSYS or the CFD, such kind of things. It is better to understand third year students. Being come to fourth year students, you need to have the skills in machine design software. Many softwares are available, Fusion 360, CATIA, CATIA, and many softwares are available, SolidWorks like this. Please try to have the knowledge of this and excel in this. Not only in that direction, machine design direction, you can have good number of softwares available in solar, photovoltaic design like Cobra Pro, PV Planner, PV System, SAM. Many opportunities are there if you learn such kind of things. In the coming days, solar energy rules the world. Then moving further, HVAC, heating, ventilation and air conditioning system, good softwares are available to design the duct. Softwares like Plantroid, HVAC system design, Cramel software, such kind of things. Then automation technology is coming up. Lot of good opportunities are there for mechanical engineers, my dear students. Make use of this career in a better way. Apart from your degree, try to excel in every year one course in the direction what I told just now. In the second year modeling, third year analysis, fourth year. If you excel in this direction, definitely good career for you. So I wish you all a good luck and conduct good activities for the department and for your benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now, it's the time to invite our beloved principal, Dr. G.L. Ishwar Prasad, who has been the pillar of support to all our activities, to deliver his presidential address.
Yes, friend. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Honorable Chief Guest, young and achiever, Srinivas, Head of the Department, Professor Rajshekhar, Dean Academics, Dr. Divakar Shetty, other heads of the departments, faculty members, and beloved students. Once again, good morning to all of you, and it's my pleasure to participate in this event because we get a clear picture of what is done by the department in the previous academic year. Dear friends, please recall yourselves the best project of the year, the best project of the state for the year. Continuously, mechanical department is getting from last 3 years. Am I right, Rajshekhar?
Yes, sir. This is the third time it is here.
3 years, and which has really resulted in an award to the institution also as best performing institution of the state. Dear students, you are doing well. I know that you are participating in good number of activities at state level and national level. Now, you may feel like the difficulties in this worst situation of COVID-19, but performance at the worst situation in a best level is of high requirement. One has to be very safe, we have to be very careful, and we have to follow the guidelines, instructions, and we should not fall back in showing our performance and participate. Mechanical department, well known for carrying out good number of hardware projects. Good number of hardware projects I have seen, they are very, very dynamic. This year also, I have already informed all the heads of the department to guide the students and invite them to the campus so that they will participate in a regular way. And for this year also, you should participate in all the innovative projects which are going to be useful for the humankind and to the society. It's most important. So considering these aspects, every one of us must take highest care to be safe At the same time, we have to perform well to get good recognition. An achievement for a student is a lifetime achievement, and it will give a good stepping stone. And dear friends, please understand, you all are having a lot of energy. Don't show your negligence and get into unwanted problems, which will put not only you into problem, it may put every others around you also into problem. If you are careful and safe, you are safe as well as your nearest and dearest, everybody is safe. This way, participate with highest care in every activity. And another most important participation, what we do this year, we are missing that is CSR activity, corporate social responsibility. We are blessed with many good things, dear friends. We know, we are enjoying it. The material what we have or the benefits what we have, we will not feel it because we are having it. If we have short of it, little short of it, definitely we will understand how difficult it is to manage without that. So why I am mentioning this, we used to visit every year the orphanage homes. We have seen the sufferings from people, and we have visited the children of disabled and special care. And such children, they are also equally capable, but unfortunately, due to some of their problems, they are stuck with some difficulties. They require a kind of encouragement, kind of support from those who are comfortably placed. So such physically challenged children, we have visited every year and we used to do it, that corporate social responsibility. This is a critical time. Normal time we have visited them, critical time. People are really requiring such good support from every one of us. Please, I am happy to support you all, but at the same time, I expect all of you to understand the requirement, because in the lifetime we'll learn, yes, that is one important point where we can support someone. If everyone supports one, there is no people who are having difficulties. One should make up their mind to see that they will support somebody in one or the other way who are in problems. Nobody says they give away everything, but give them something of what you have, many things. So in that way, please participate in CSR activity. And you may feel that you are at far off place, that the situation is tough, but still taking the safety into hand, very carefully managing, we can definitely organize. You are all lucky, blessed people. Dear friends, understand the development in technology has given you everything. If you recall, see the days of your childhood and the days of my childhood, if I recall, we were struggling to get a notebook, but these days notebook itself is not necessary for you. It is all everything on the technology. We'll write everything on laptop, learn everything from laptop, everything available. And we were struggling to get a textbook. Now textbooks, any number of books available on website. Search good things, do good work. It will definitely protect you one or the other day. You have to put your efforts, and efforts will never go waste. Efforts will never go waste. But point is, you should be very conscious, very careful to use the time. Everyone has only 24 hours time. The one who uses the 24 hours in a most systematic, efficient manner will get recognized as the best. We have many model of achievers in front of us. Many models. You can refer to them, their achievements, how they have participated, how they have used their time, and get recognized as the best. So your hard work and efforts will never go waste. Maybe you will have to put your sincere efforts till success. And that way, I know mechanical department is one of the dynamic departments with big student strength, but all that to be encashed. It has been done so far, encashed in a way that in participating in very good activities, very good performance, and see that you are recognized as the best student in the department, best child for your parents, and also a best citizen for the country. That is the primary aim of education. And thereby, all of you must carefully understand these points and see that you will perform well and do well. But at the same time, in this present very tough situation, be safe, but don't stop developing your performance and improving your performance. Every successive year, you must show your improvement. That is most important. I wish you all an excellent academic year. All the office bearers should take highest care to invite great achievers. That will be a motivation to you. That will give you a lot of pinpoints, a lot of ideas through which you can just walk up and make your way an excellent one. So based on that, don't simply conduct some programs for the sake of conducting program. It is not that conducting program, what benefit we get out of that is of importance. And how we understand, how we participate, how we take it into our hearts so that it will definitely help us. Certainly, all of you will do well. I wish you all a great success during the current academic year, which is more measurable than your previous academic years. At the same time, be safe and participate in every activity in an effective manner, which will recognize you as well as the institution. Good luck to all of you. Thank you all for giving me an opportunity to participate with you all. Take care, do well, best wishes. I also thank the young achiever, our honorable chief guest also, and thanks to one and all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. Gratitude is the memory of the heart. It's our duty to thank the guests of today's event. May I now call upon Mr. Radvik Punja, Vice President, McMinds, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A warm and graceful morning to our most valued Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. G.R. Srinivasji, our Principal Dr. G.R. Ishwar Prasad, Management Committee, worthy teachers, my dear friends, and everyone gathered here. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks speech and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked really hard to make the virtual branch entry celebration happen. I, Radvik Punja, on behalf of McMites and the entire fraternity of the institution, extend my most sincere thanks to our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. G.R. Srinivasji, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. I am immensely thankful to our beloved chairman, Mr. Rajesh Chauta, for his constant support, our esteemed principal, Dr. G.N. Ishwar Prasad, HOD, Dr. C.R. Rajshekar, for his constant motivation, and Dean Academics, Dr. Divakar Shetty. In addition to this, I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Shivram's McMite coordinator for his generous support, and also to our McMite president, Mr. Nishchit. A big thank you to each one of you who made this virtual branch entry celebration memorable one for all of us. A big thank you.
Thank you, Radvik. With this, we have come to the end of the formal function. Today, we have with us Dr. G.R. Srinivas, Deputy General Manager, Mahindra Research Valley, Mahindra & Mahindra, Chennai. He is the facilitator for the webinar on multidisciplinary design optimization based on methodologies for improving range of an electric-powered vehicle. I request all the participants to actively participate and send your queries and questions throughout the chat box, and also you can unmute and ask your questions, and we will bring it to the notice of the resource person to answer. May I now request the guest speaker to take over the session.
Yes. Can you see the screen?
No, sir.
No, not yet, sir.
Now?
Not yet. Yes, not
Coming
yet.
up?
Yeah, yes. It is streaming.
Streaming. So you can see the screen now. Everybody can hear. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
And my screen is shown. You are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. Your window is visible, sir.
Correct. Correct. So before actually starting the presentation, let me just give you some.
Yeah, this is
Now
good.
you can see the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So before getting into the presentation, I would like to give a high-level thoughts on what are the expectations in an automotive industry. So how the students who are getting thoroughly trained by the faculty can be made ready for taking up the challenges in the industry. So if you see past few years, 2 to 3 years, these emerging technologies like AI, machine learning, IoT, robotics, additive manufacturing, right? All those that come under Industry 4.0 are coming up. And now if you see the customer expectations are also changing, especially in the automotive segment, if you see customer expectations are changing because the youngsters, the way they think, the millennials, the way they think is changing. And we need to update our vehicle designs to meet the customer expectations, right? So when we are doing so, we need to come up with very challenging features in the car. Not only challenging features, we should also come up with competitive products which will keep us in business, right? When we are doing so, the employees who are there in an organization should be trained so that they'll be ready to face the competition by coming up with very innovative products. So while doing so, lot of trainings we need to impart to our employees in the current technologies, in the emerging technologies, and then how to come up with a lot of innovative problem solving things in the respective domains, right? So there is already a gap between what engineers know and what is required to come up with innovative products. There is a gap. Now, by collaborating with various SMEs, by collaborating with various experts in various areas, we can build the gap. Then how to bridge the gap which is there in the college environment. Let's say there is a college, engineering college. Let's say there is an IIT or IIC or some private engineering college, and now you have a syllabus, you have a curriculum for mechanical, right? And you have faculties, right? And now, if you see the syllabus, no more the mechanical engineering is only limited to mechanical. If you see the automotive system, the automotive systems are more and more getting into electronics, electrical, connected. More and more electronics is coming, more and more information technology is coming, more and more software is coming, right? Then how a mechanical engineering student can get into a good automotive designer, right? Because it's a multidisciplinary. So the future of mobility engineering is 3: mechanical, computer science, electrical and electronics. So every mechanical engineering should have depth in mechanical engineering and also should have breadth in the other areas like information technology, computer science and electrical and electronics, right? Similarly, every computer science engineering should have depth in computer science and breadth in adjacent areas. And for the same branch, same thing for that. Now, not only for an automotive or mobility engineering, in fact, for any product design, this trend can be applicable. Depth in his own branch and breadth across multiple branches. So this is one important thing which I would like to tell. And the second important thing is collaboration with other branches. So I saw many of your projects, right? So how many of your projects are multidisciplinary? Yes, of course, the BAHA is highly multidisciplinary. So my suggestion, the second point would be come up with a lot of projects which are multidisciplinary in nature and have team where the constituent candidates are from different branches and then work together to come up with the product. This is the second important thing which I know. And the third very important thing which I would advise to all the students of mechanical engineering is, there is a curriculum by AICTE or by UGC, there is a curriculum. You have to come up with your own curriculum or learning map based on what you want to become after your BTech. Right? So you'll be having dreams, right? You want to become a marine engineer or aerospace engineer, or a space engineer or a biomedical engineer, whatever, you know. So you have to come up with your own curriculum. And most of the courses are available online for auditing for free from the world best faculty, right? You can go to Coursera, edX, NPTEL. They're all free. If you want to audit Coursera, edX, most of the courses are free. So my advice to all the students would be to get into these online MOOCs platforms and start getting ready for taking up challenging problems in the industry. So with these 3 points, I will quickly get into my presentation, right? Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the topic is how multidisciplinary design optimization machine learning based approach can be applied for maximizing the range of an electric vehicle, right? So first of all, why optimization? So optimization, as you know, it will improve the design quality, right? Design quality is a very broad term. It minimize the number of iterations to come to the perfect solution, perfect or a practical solution. So finally the customer will be happy, right? So optimization improves the design quality. And also it assists in meeting projects' time, cost and performance targets. So in an industry kind of environment, we are basically worried about these 3 aspects: time, cost and performance, right? So when you resort to these advanced algorithms in optimization, right? So you will come up with the solution which will be most of the time first time right under the given complex circumstances and constraints. And this coming to a decision at the early stage of the project or a conceptual stage of the product, coming to the right decision is very important, because when the project goes ahead to the next stages, when you have more design changes in the latter stages, then the investment costs will shoot up and the product development time will increase and your delivery of the product will be delayed, and then you will lose the market share. So time, cost and performance is very critical. For these 3 aspects, optimization is one of the important concept and tool which an engineer can apply in his product design. And then what's the third thing is assist engineers in innovation. How does it assist engineers in innovation? What is innovation? Innovation is coming up with some novel product when there is a challenging problem and there is a complex problem and a lot of conflicting requirements. So this multidisciplinary design optimization is a concept which will help engineers to come up with novel solutions. And one more aspect, when the number of iterations or the jugaad or the way of taking decisions based on subjective means come down, then once the product is first time right, obviously you will have a lot of time. You can spend a lot of time in innovation instead of spending your time in iterating, right? So these MDO optimization tools will help give some time for engineers to innovate, right? So these are the 3 important things. Now coming to what is optimization and what is MDO? If you see here, optimization is the process of obtaining the best result in a given situation, considering all the complex constraints which are there, right? If you see mathematically, I have an objective function, right? I have an objective function. And this function can be a weight, can be a fuel economy, can be a combination of weight and fuel economy. This objective function can be range, right? This is the objective function. So I either minimize or maximize, right? Subjected to some constraints. What are these constraints? These are mathematical constraints. And these constraints can come up from various domains. So if you see here, when you're trying to design a vehicle, electric vehicle especially, you want the coefficient of drag to be very less, right? Then the losses are less and the range will be maximum. So there is a constraint coming from fluid dynamics. Then when the vehicle goes on road, that rough terrain, lot of road load, real world issues pattern, road loads will really damage your structure, right? Fatigue life is very critical. So your fatigue constraints will come, that your damage should be so and so, minimum damage should be less than so and so value. My fatigue life should be so and so. Constraints coming from durability. Then when you're designing at an automotive, then there are a lot of regulations coming on the crash, the occupant safety and pedestrian safety, right? There are a lot of regulations which are coming, which you need to capture in your design, right? You need to pass the regulatory requirements. At the same time, make the occupant and pedestrian safety, which is very important. So some of the constraints which come from crash simulations, crash is very important. And then the very important aspect is noise, vibration and harshness, right? When the customer gets into a car, you want to isolate the vibrations coming from the engine, coming from the road, coming from the tire, coming from air, coming from multiple sources, transmission, so on and so forth. So there are a lot of constraints, engineering constraints coming from NVH domain. Typically what happens in an engineering company, there are experts in fluid domain, experts in durability, experts in crash, experts in NVH, experts in styling, experts in ergonomics, experts in vehicle dynamics, experts in so and so. But now, finally, we have to give one product, right? One single car. So how to integrate, how to work with these experts, how to integrate all these domains in an optimization problem, and then come up with the design variables like thickness, material properties, and come up with an optimum solution of design variables, right? Considering all this. So this is MDO. So MDO is what? Multidisciplinary design optimization. Why it is multidisciplinary? Because the constraints are coming from various domains, right? Now, just want to show some physical interpretation of optimization. Let's say that you need to get into the top of this hill, right? So obviously, when you try to get into the top of the objective is find the highest point, and design variables are the longitude and latitude, right? And what are the constraints? Constraints are stay inside this fence. This is a constraint. So this is a problem, typical problem. So how do you go about, how do you find the highest point? You can start from here, you can start from here, you can start from anywhere. Suppose if these two constraints are not there, like if the fence constraint is not there, stay within the fence, if that constraint is not there, obviously you can go here, 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 and then there is a point where, so if you see this is the maximum point, not the flat portion, but there is a point outside the fence. That's the maximum point without constraint. But when you have constraints, you have to ensure that you meet these constraints, you are within the fence, and then your optimal solution will be somewhere this point, right? Where there is a flat, right? This is an optimum solution. It's the topmost point. So these constraints, what you are seeing, fence, you can imagine these are two fences here. But in an automotive kind of problem, automotive kind of optimization problem, you have fences coming from requirements from fluid dynamics, from durability, from crash, NVH, ergonomics, so on and so forth. How do you meet all these constraints, minimize the weight of the vehicle, and then come up with the design variables like thicknesses, geometry, shape, topometry, material properties, so on and so forth, right? That's it. I hope I am audible to everyone. I'm just confirming.
Yes, sir.
Great. So now, this slide shows the application of MDO in automotive domain. Right. So if you see, when you take a turn, right, if you want to have a lateral stability will come when the suspension is stiff. When the suspension is stiff, you'll have a lateral stability. You'll feel while taking a turn, you will feel comfortable in terms of stability. But what happens when your suspension is stiff? It will transfer the vibrations to the seat, right? And you will lose comfort, right? So these two are conflicting. So how do you come up with suspension system which is drivability and comfortable at the same time the lateral stability is? Now if you see HVAC system, right? If you want a thermal comfort, then you switch on the AC and a lot of vents are there, airflow is there. But then, of course, you need a compressor, you need a motor to drive all the systems, you have a power consumption, and you will have compromise on the fuel consumption. Because you have to burn some fuel to give comfort. So how do you optimize your HVAC system? How do you optimize your vent locations, airflow? Give the comfort, thermal comfort. At the same time, minimize the fuel comfort, right? And if you see, in a typical car, no, there is an A pillar, B pillar, and C pillar. If you are coming up with an electric vehicle design, your first objective is to reduce the draft, right? Why to reduce the draft? To improve the range. So when you try for reducing the draft, if you see this A pillar should theta, angle theta, which A pillar makes with the horizontal, theta should be very less. If theta is very less, then the airflow will be good and CD will be less. And your range will be good, vehicle range. But when you try to do so, when you try to make this A pillar angle less, you may get into problem when there is a rollover because it will directly crush. During a rollover collision, the load transfer will not be good. There will be no crashworthiness. It will directly crush. Or the space, you will lose space inside the cabin. Occupant will lose the space. So ergonomically, it may be an issue. So here I have shown only two conflicts. But this can happen. There can be multiple conflicts, right? When you are, for example, in the third class, crash, aerodynamics, and ergonomics, there are three conflicts, right? Now, if you see durability and crash, vehicle body. When you go on a rough terrain, your thickness of the BIW structure, thickness of the rails should be very high. Why thickness should be very high? Because your stresses induced, it should be less, right? Then more light. But what happens when you design structures which are, robust, right? Which are very stiff? What will happen? It will not be crash worthy. That means when there is a crash, it doesn't absorb the energy. So if you make a structure which is very durable, right, it will not absorb the energy during the collision and the entire energy comes to the occupant and the occupant will have a severe injury. So you want structures which will absorb energy. That means you want essentially structures which are thin. But the thin structure should not fail when there is a real world tough situation, right? So there is you can see. Now when you come to interior trim design, right? So there is an A pillar here. When somebody is not wearing a seat belt, seat belt is wearing, let's say, but then there is no airbag deployment, right? There are some vehicles which doesn't have airbag. Then what happens during a collision? He will just move forward and there is a chance that he will hit the A pillar, right? When he hits the A pillar, you can prevent the damage to the head by incorporating a foam kind of structure in the A pillar so that when there is a collision with the A pillar, the head impact is less, head injury criteria is met. But what happens, it occupies the space inside your cabin. So there is an ergonomics issue. So really it's very tough because ergonomics person says, I want this occupant space. Crash engineer says, no, give me more. I want to design my A pillar. I want to introduce some foam elements inside, some gussets inside, some compressible plastic elements inside so that when there is a collision, the plastic will compress and then the impact on the head will be less. So a trade-off, right? Now the third important, the other one which I am trying to show here in this slide in the right hand side is, when you are coming up with a combustion bowl design, right? So you have two options. One is the solid line and the other is the dotted line. If you see the dotted line bowl, mixing is very good because you have a re-entrancy, because the gases will go here and they mix, because the re-entrancy ratio is good here, right? It will mix. But then wall thickness is less. If you see the wall thickness is less in the dotted line, right? But in the solid line, you have wall thickness more, but mixing is not good. So what mixing to do with wall thickness? If good mixing is there, combustion efficiency is good. Right? If wall thickness is more durability, thermal fatigue life is good. So if you make a combustion bowl which is very efficient in mixing and very efficient in fuel economy, then you may get into problems in tracking the pistons, right? Thermal fatigue may happen. So both the durability team and the combustion efficiency teams should work together and come up with this geometry which will meet both the requirements, right? So these are some of the trade-offs which typically in automotive industry we encounter, and this trade-off list can go on and on, right? Now coming to, now you understood what is MDO, first you understood what is optimization, then you understood what is MDO, and then you understood the challenges in an automotive, various trade-offs one should take when you're trying to take a decision, right? Now coming to lightweighting. Why people are talking about lightweighting, right? Lightweighting, in the current technologies, if you see, right, IC engine powered vehicles, of course, when you reduce the weight of a vehicle from 1800 kg to 1500 kg, 300 kg weight reduction, let's say, fuel economy will improve, right? One is fuel economy. Other is the material cost. Material cost come down and is very good, very profitable, right? Third one is emissions, right? For example, if you want to have a X power engine, right? X power engine. More power means, of course, more emissions, right? So for the same seating capacity, you can come up with a less power engine for the same acceleration performance and seating capacity for the same platform, if the weight of the vehicle is less. So in that way, emissions also will increase. Now coming to the next generation, right? Electric, autonomous and connected. And people are struggling today in EV platforms. The only thing is the battery technology, the range which we are looking at, because city drive, lot of traffic, lot of operation of, this clutch operation in IC engine powered vehicle, right, lot of deceleration, acceleration, right, because of the city, huge city traffic. And when you design your vehicles from city to city, like Bangalore to Chennai, then you should have a long range. You should have a range of 400, 450 kilometers, otherwise nobody will buy your vehicle, right? Range is very important. Nobody wants to stop your vehicle in between. Of course, there are many other technologies which are coming, battery swapping, multiple people are working in various other aspects to make this feasible. But range is one of the critical things which OEMs will work on and try to improve the range by lightweighting the structure. And how this lightweighting can happen? Either by reducing the thickness, reducing the structures, overall optimizing the shape of the structure, or by using novel materials, lightweight materials like composites, like alloys, aluminum magnesium alloys, right? And foam type alloys, and locally using those advanced materials which have, right, high specific strengths. And of course, managing the costs and manufacturing and scalability aspects. Now the question is, now that you know what is MDO, the challenges in MDO and why lightweighting, why lightweighting. Lightweighting is very important, right? Now let me tell you, what are those challenges in MDO? When somebody wants to start MDO, right, he should at least understand what are the various challenges in the entire automotive space. Like he should know NVH, durability, crash, vehicle dynamics, ergonomics. He should know fit and finish, GD&T, right? He should know mechanisms, he should know understand transmission, he should understand the entire subsystems and what are the challenges in the subsystem. So, when you're trying to formulate the MDO problem itself, you should have basics of the entire, all subsystems. You should have practitioner's knowledge of all subsystems. So, that's one challenge. Let's say you know how challenges and you could formulate the problem. Now, when you want to run this MDO problem, you need to know, or at least you need to work with people who know various solvers, because there is no single solver. Some solvers are very good in CFD, some solvers are very good in vehicle dynamics, some in crash, some in contact mechanics, some in combustion, some in electromagnetic physics. So this is a very multi-physics problem. So there are very few softwares which have all these capabilities, right? Some are good in some. So how an engineer can get expertise in these areas, all these areas, and at least to speak with those people, experts in those softwares, and integrate all these softwares to come up with a optimization problem, to run an optimization problem. And at the end, let's say you had run the optimization problem. You got the results. Now, how do you interpret the results, right? Because your design suggestion or your material suggestion, your geometry suggestion should be manufacturable, should have low cost, should be having availability, and it should be scalable, it should be productionizing, and end of life, many things are coming into picture, right? So there is another interpretation of the results, right? Design for manufacturing, design for assembly, design for service, design for cost, design for the multiple things are there. So these are the key challenges. If somebody wants to become MDO engineer, he should have these three at three different levels, right? Now, let us discuss how, with respect to lightweighting, if you use MDO, let's say you got all those three challenges, like let's say you are equipped with all the three, you know the softwares, you know the all the areas, subsystems, you know the functioning, you have practicing experience in all the subsystems, let us say. You could formulate the problem, and also you have manufacturing, cost knowledge, commercial and techno-commercial production. Let's say you have all the knowledge, right? Once you know that, you have tools and you have techniques, you have experts. How can you exploit MDO? How can you derive benefits from MDO? So I just written here, one of the key challenge if you see this huge number of design variables in an automotive, right? How many components are there? How many design variables will be there? Enormous number of design. And constraints coming from multiple areas. Benefits of MDO, it can handle. It can handle multiple design variables and multiple constraints. And then if you see, I told you that it's a multi-physics problem and highly nonlinear. Crash is highly nonlinear, material geometric contact nonlinearity. And this nonlinear problems will take a lot of time to solve. Computational time is very high. But this, when you try to do machine learning, when you try to combine machine learning and MDO, it can handle complex nonlinear problems very efficiently without compromising on the accuracy of solution. And then, as I told, there is no single solver that can do MDO, right? There are loose different softwares, like which are specialized in different areas. So if you develop an MDO tool, it can integrate seamlessly all these softwares to come up with an optimal solution. And more importantly, huge computational time and cost can be saved if you come up with an MDO-based, advanced MDO methodologies, machine learning-based MDO methodologies. Huge computational time and cost can be saved. So these are some of the benefits of using MDO in an automotive context. When you try to, now coming to lightweighting, right? When you try to lightweight, you can lightweight with multiple means. You can lightweight from materials, you can lightweight joining techniques, you can downsize the engine, right? You can lightweight the powertrain. Then there are many other ways of lightweighting. But what I'm talking here in this next few slides is lightweighting using design optimization, by size optimization, by shape optimization, right? Geometric optimization. You can pick any of these lightweighting techniques based on the feasibility, based on your technology roadmap. But in the current talk, I'm talking about the design optimization through geometric optimization, shape optimization. So let me take an example of an automotive lightweighting problem. Let's say there is a mass of the vehicle you have to reduce and there are thickness variables, right? The thickness variables. For simplicity, I have shown only three variables, but these variables, in the next slide, I will show some of the complex problems, right? And now you have constraints coming from crash, durability, and NVH. Right? And this is a model for durability, right? This is the model for NVH, this is the model for durability, and this is the model for crash, right? Because you need finite element models, right? Now, given those three finite element models, one for durability, one for crash, and one for NVH, this is a typical roadmap we are following for optimization. Started with RSM-based MDO, then got into practical MDO. This is when I'm doing PhD in IISc. My professor and myself came up with a very powerful algorithm on practical MDO, which will significantly reduce the time for solution, time for running the solution without compromising on the accuracy. Then after joining, after rejoining Mahindra, then we came up with the hybrid MDO, which considers this practical MDO plus an equivalent static load method, right? And this gives very significant reduction in time to run the full vehicle analysis. Then I'll also talk about data science and MDO, which is creating disruption in MDO, right? So without getting into more details due to time constraint, I don't want to get into response surface method based MDO and practical MDO. But one thing I can tell, response surface method MDO, let's say there are 30 design points, let us say there are 30 DOE points. I think all of you understand design of experiments. So when you do a design of experiment, let's say there are 30 points where you need to run the experiments, and there are 3 experiments in this case, NVH, durability, and crash. You need to run all the 3 analyses, NVH, durability, and crash, at all these 30 design points when you are doing response surface method. But when you are doing practical MDO, no need for you to generate a response surface. Okay, so I'll discuss how it works. So, okay, so in a response, this is the simulation model which you are talking about, and now this is a practical MDO. I'll not get into details of this, but let me precisely tell what happens in a practical MDO with respect to RSM MDO. In a practical MDO, what happens is, we will come up with 175 design cases. First, we will quickly run NVH constraints, right? NVH, noise vibration. NVH is a very linear phenomenon. So you do linear analysis will not take much time, and you come up with a design which meeting the linear NVH constraint. So 107 cases are meeting NVH constraint. And now you pick this 107 cases, order in the minimum weight, and then 107 you start running the durability analysis. And if it makes the durability analysis, then you run the crash analysis. That means the crash analysis you are running only for those cases which are meeting the durability and NVH analysis. So what you are trying to do, you will run crash analysis only for 7 cases. Right? You will run the crash analysis only for 7 cases. If you see here, only few cases you are running the crash analysis. But in an RSM-based method, you have to run the crash analysis for all the design points. Let's say 30, if you have a 150 DOE points, you have to run 150 crash analysis in an RSM method. But in a practical method, you need to run only few crash analysis. And remember, crash analysis is multi-fold time consuming. So when you apply practical MDO, you are getting into a very efficient way of minimizing the crash runs. And now I will show you this plot where you can see RSM-based method takes 62 hours and practical MDO takes only 14 hours. And if you see the solution accuracy, very close. RSM is giving 15 kg and practical MDO is 16 kg, right? 3 kg reduction in those 3 components, whatever, 3 components. So without compromising on accuracy, you have a very drastic reduction in the time for practical MDO. Now let me quickly get into the third one, hybrid MDO, where you use practical MDO and equivalent static load method. So this is a specialization by itself. So I'll quickly try to explain. So what we do here in equivalent static load method, right? You convert the nonlinear problem into a linear problem, right? You find out the equivalent static loads which gives the same deformation. And then what you do is, you do the optimization in linear space and then map your solution to nonlinear. So in this way, your solution computational time will become 1/8 with the same accuracy. So if you see, your solution accuracy drastically reduced with practical, it became 1/4. Then it became 1/8 with the ESL-based method, right? Now I'll show how a machine learning-based method can do miracle. Okay, so without getting into the details of machine learning method, before that, let me tell you what is the importance of reducing this time. I'm talking about 1/4 reduction in time, 1/8 reduction in time. Why you should worry about time, right? Because we know that competitors are coming up with various models, right? And they release the models every 6 months. So when you talk about new product development or a new platform development, we don't have time to run simulations for months together. Full vehicle simulations, crash simulations, we don't have time. We want to come up with frugal methods, quick methods without compromising on accuracy and coming up with the decisions which can decide beam-based modeling, machine learning-based modeling, which we'll do in days' time, right? That's the story. So to get into that, you should come up with this innovative CAE methodologies. So now our last method here in this lecture would be machine learning-based MDO. How it is different from the earlier 3. So of course the benefits from earlier 3 are carried over. That means you have a practical MDO, you have a equivalent static load method. Along with that, if you also use machine learning-based method, how it will work, right? So let's say this is the thicknesses, you have multiple thicknesses, you have constraints. Okay. Now, at this stage, I want to get into little details on an electric vehicle, right? Why? Because this talk also has a component of electric vehicle, right? So most of the times what we do is we convert our IC engine based vehicles to electric vehicles, right? Because we don't want to invest from scratch. Because the dies, the toolings for the BAW structures are costly, we don't want to invest. We want to modify the existing structures to meet the EV requirements. So while doing so, a lot of research has to be done, right? Because when you go from IC engine powered to a EV powered, you have IC engine powered vibrations, forcing functions are changing, right? Earlier, your IC engine will mask the noises, right? Other noises coming from tire, coming from from wind noise, tire noise, buzz, squeak, rattle, all these are masked by IC engine. But now in an EV, since IC engine is not there, you will hear all those noises and they may be irritant to you. So what happens is your natural frequencies, your NVH targets will change when you go from an IC engine power to EV power. So what we typically do, is we run some experiments, right? How do we run some experiments, right? So we mount some accelerometers and microphones at 3 locations. One is at the motor, one is at the driver's seat, one is at the rear seat. We mount, these are the microphones. And you also mount the accelerometers. Why do you mount the accelerometers? To get the G levels. So accelerometers, and you also mount the microphone. So once you do this, you will compare. So the green color is an electric vehicle and the blue color is an IC engine vehicle, the histograms you see, right? At 20 kilometers per hour, we start the vehicle. 2 vehicles we have. One is the IC engine vehicle and the other is the EV vehicle. EV vehicle is the converted version from IC to EV, right? A first prototype. Once we make the first prototype, we run at 20 kilometers per hour. We compare the noise levels at these 3 locations at different speeds, 20 kilometers per hour, 30 kilometers per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, right? And then we get the, we do the FFT and then we find the resonance modes. If you see there is a resonance at 10,000 hertz. And if you see at below 500 hertz, there are a lot of resonance modes are there. And these resonance are because of multiple excitation frequencies. In this case, the motor controller switching frequency is giving this kind of motor controller switching frequency 10,000 hertz. Now, well below 500 hertz, there are a lot of other resonating frequencies like, the rotating components in a motor, right? Togging torque is there. That's another exciting force, right? So there are multiple excitation frequencies which come in and which will cause the resonance. So an engineer has to get into details of this and then come up with those sources, either reduce the source of vibration or improve your structural design so that your noise is not transferred to the occupant, noise and vibration not transferred to the occupant compartment, right? So now this is one of the last slide in this analysis of electric vehicle. If you see, there is an option for us to increase the noise levels in an EV powered vehicle, right? Because consistently at all speeds we saw the noise levels in the EV powered vehicle is less and the noise levels in the IC engine powered vehicle is more. It is very obvious, right? Now, can we increase the noise levels in the EV powered vehicle? What will be the benefit if you try to increase the noise levels? I can reduce the stiffness of my structure, right? At a particular frequency, I can reduce the noise level. I can play with the stiffness of the structure. I can reduce the stiffness of the structure. What happens when you reduce the stiffness of the structure? It will vibrate, right? It will be noisy. I don't have any problem. I can reduce the stiffness of the structure for an EV powered vehicle because the EV powered vehicle noise levels are very less. Can I leverage on that delta and then come up with a reduced stiffness structure, right? Which will save the cost and which will give a lightweight solution. This is one thing. So what I try to show you here is a lot of experiments will be done to come up with the constraints. Where these constraints will go in the optimization problem, if you see the constraints will go in this model natural frequency constraint. This 50 hertz, what I'm talking about, right, for an EV is coming from those experiments. This is one such. So we do a lot of experiments to come up with the constraints, right? And then what we do is we run the NVH analysis, crash analysis, accelerated durability test at 200 points. We come up with the predictive models. Now, if I halt here, see how many design variables are there? 48 design variables are there, thicknesses. And how many responses? 15 responses in NVH. In crash analysis, 14 critical design variables. And how many responses? 9. In durability analysis, there are 26 components which are critical from durability damage perspective, and there are 25 responses, right? These responses are nothing but the stress induced. How can you come up with predictive model? So if you see, these are the components. If you see in the screen, these are the components which are very sensible to NVH, durability and crash, all 3 domains. Because finally we should focus on those components which are sensible to all 3 domains. Why? Because If you change one, the other can violate. So I want to understand what are the components which are sensible to all three. So these are the components which are sensible to all three, looking at the results. Then you develop predictive models, right? Predictive machine learning based predictive models. And these predictive models will go into an optimization algorithm. And once you run the optimization algorithm, your thickness of these components can be reduced. Baseline is 0.8, optimal is 0.6. Now you see 20% reduction in the mass of the structural components, right? More than 20% weight reduction potential for an EV version because you are reducing the stiffness of the structure in an EV version. So what essentially you are trying to see is you are capturing NVH durability crash, you came up with the solution runs, you came up with those components which are critical for all three domains, and then you run the optimization algorithm. And after running the optimization algorithm, then what you've done is you came up with an optimal solution. So this is how you will do an optimization in an industry kind of scenario. The 20% weight reduction is a very significant weight reduction, right? And which will contribute to a significant increase in the range of an electric vehicle. Now, one last few minutes I will spend, 2-3 minutes I will spend, and then I am done with the talk. These 2-3 minutes I will spend on something which is very important for all mechanical engineers. Going forward, all mechanical engineers should get into data science, machine learning, IoT and cloud, right? Electronics, embedded systems, so on and so forth. Software programming, Python programming. You have to learn advanced skills. Why you should learn advanced skills? Because when you apply those technologies, the machine learning based technologies, I'm showing few technologies. Forward feature selection and clustering, there are two machine learning based technologies. When you use these technologies, you see the magic what happens. When you do the optimization with 200 design variables and 200 data points and 14 design variables, if you apply these two techniques, with just 5 data points and 3 design variables, you can get the optimal solution. If you apply those machine learning techniques, I am repeating, instead of 200 data points, you need only 5 data points. Instead of 14 variables, you can just come up with 3 design variables, which are critical for this response. Essentially, what I am trying to say is, when you are trying to identify this response, earlier traditional engineer will generate 200 data points and work on 14 design parameters for this response. A machine learning person who also has a hardcore domain expert in MDO will only look at these 5 DOE points and these 3 parameters for this response because the statistics is showing. Statistics shows that with 85% accuracies, if you use clustering method, this is error, 15% error means 85% accuracy with 6 clusters, you can reduce 200 DOEs to 5 and 14 design variables to 3. And this is actual versus predicted. So essentially what it translates, once again I am telling, industry is worried about time, cost and performance, nothing else. Essentially what it turns out, 133 days of solution time is coming to only 3.3 days of solution time when you use dimensionality and volume reduction techniques. So that means see the disruption how this other data science and other algorithms will help you in your domain, solving your domain problems and reducing time to do. Obviously, when you reduce the time, the computational space is also reducing. And most of the nonlinear problems, if you come up with predictive models, then you can use those predictive models for optimization instead of running the physics-based models. You know how CFD analysis runtime is very high. If you come up with a predictive model, machine learning model for CFD, next time no need for you to run the physics-based model, right? You can use this predictive model. And when you do the optimization with predictive models, it doesn't take time. It does in minutes. In minutes, it does the analysis or optimization. So with this, I will conclude that a systematic methodology. I have shown you how what is optimization, what is MDO, what are the challenges in automotive optimization, what are the various trade-offs or conflicts one has to do, and then what is the importance of lightweighting and what are the various ways one can do lightweighting. And for lightweighting in design optimization, I took an example and shown how we can apply various algorithms like response surface, practical MDO, hybrid MDO, and then machine learning based MDO to come up with a 20% reduction in vehicle weight which will have considerable improvement in the range, right? So with this, I would like to end my presentation, and thanks a lot.
Thank you, Srinivas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session. Now, sir, we have some questions in the chat. So, sir, can you see the questions, or should I read out?
Okay, so I saw some questions.
Yes, sir.
So I will answer a few questions.
Yes, sir.
So,
Muhammad Sahil, he has
as
asked.
regards the vehicle safety, usually in combustion vehicles, electric short circuit happens due to electric wave. So when a vehicle is completely built with electric, how safe it is? Yeah, good question, Mr. Mohammed. So what happens is there is a high voltage line and there is a high voltage line and a low voltage line. So what people do when they are designing the electric systems with high voltage electric vehicles is the high voltage lines are isolated through foam-based and mechanical structures, so that during a collision, there is no short circuit between metallic structures and the high voltage systems. So that's how they are taken care, right? And then considering the progress of electric car that can mechanical engineers do in future automotive, then how can I skill myself to have a successful career in automotive industry? Okay, very good question, Akshay. This is very important. The first thing is, when you, let's say now you want to become automotive, you want to get into automotive mobility industry. So three things are important: mechanical, software, electrical, electronics. So you should have, since you are mechanical engineer, you should have breadth in computer science and electrical electronics, and then you should have depth in your mechanical, right? And you should get into advanced courses which are online, NPTEL, Coursera, edX, and audit the courses as much as possible. And once you audit the courses, model-based systems engineering, model-based analysis, once you audit these courses, and these courses are given by experts, world experts, so please audit the courses. You have to have a plan, you have to have a learning map for yourself, right? And then start working on that. Then you will become interested. And one more important is, you should do multidisciplinary projects in third sem and fourth sem. You should get into contact with industries, find out what are the pain points of industries, collaborate with industries through the support of your expert faculty, and then solve the pain points of industries during your third year and fourth year itself. And in that way, you will get ready. You'll be ready. The moment you get into industry, on day one, you are ready to solve their problems. So this is how you can plan your career. And then, with the future, D'Souza, with the future trending towards EVs, what do you think will the problem? What do you think will be the problem we Indians will be facing, considering India is a growing economy? See, EVs. Unless there is a disruption in battery technologies, unless the ecosystem of the government policies will help in coming up with a low-cost EVs, EV will not replace IC, right? But definitely, what I personally think is, in a city kind of environment where you need range of 90 kilometers and then you recharge in a city kind of thing, there may be multiple vehicles which will come, EVs which will come in a city kind of environment. But from city to city, SUV kind of vehicles, EV is far. And I think many many people are working in this area. And yet I'm yet to see a low-cost EV with a high range where I can aram go from Bangalore to Chennai, or Bangalore to Tumkur, or Bangalore to Mangalore, right? So I'm hoping for the best. So what is the scope for design optimization in battery technologies in India? So, good question. Design optimization is very generic. As I told you, when you are talking about battery technologies, you have challenges from thermal perspective, you have challenges from electric domain, you have challenges from, right? You have challenges from, it's a multi-physics problem, right? There are challenges from chemistry, right? And then when these battery technologies are kept on a system, it can be a two-wheeler, a three-wheeler, or it can be another, right? When these are kept on a system, then you get some more challenges because of the system. When you are trying to integrate these battery technologies with this particular system, then definitely this MDO will help you to formulate the problems which will understand the challenges of various subsystems and then come up with an optimal solution, right, to meet your objective function. So your objective function can be a life of the battery, right? Your like multiple things, right? So your objective function can be a cost of the battery. It can be a multi-objective function. Definitely, design optimization. In any domain, design optimization is very powerful. Then next, Lucky Somana. What are the parameters that global NCAP follow for EVS? So this you can in the Google you can find out the NCAP New Car Assessment Program, electric vehicle. So you can find out this. Somana. What are the major challenges for establishing charging stations which can replace fuel challenge? So this, I may not be in a position to answer this question, challenges for establishing charging stations. So maybe you should browse or you should get into contact with those who are actually making things happen in this space. Tesla is planning to expand its business in India soon. As a mechanical engineer, if I want to get into job in Tesla, how can it be managed? So today you have seen how multi-tissue design optimization is a powerful tool, and where you have a lot of constraints coming from electric systems, right? Constraints coming from fluid, constraints coming from. So Tesla is also it's a mobility, it's into mobility business. So as a mechanical engineer, you have a very vital role to play because there are a lot of constraints or requirements coming from thermal, fluid structures, right? And then, of course, you have to get into software and electrical and electronics engineering too. As I told you, you should have breadth in these areas. Tesla will be definitely looking for a person who is having breadth across multiple branches and depth in one area, right? Then only you can become a good systems engineer, a vehicle level. Then, sir, can you suggest some good courses which, yeah, definitely you can mail me. I will send a list of the courses which are very relevant, right? Then considering the current scenario is Indian mechanical engineering system and the automobile industry is ready enough to proceed with the electric vehicle. So everybody, see, in respect to electric vehicles, everybody is learning. Industry is learning, right? Academia, IITs, IIScs and many engineering colleges, they are learning. So we are all in the learning path. But what is very important is we should quickly learn, quickly do experiments, quickly explore, quickly execute. So education, right? Exploration, experience, execute. All these three E's should happen very fast whenever you are getting into new technologies, right? Will aviation sector shift to electrical? Will there be electrical aircraft soon? So this, honestly, I'm not sure about this, Mr. Ajim. During high impact collision, is there any chance of explosion due to company? Yeah, perfect. So there are chances. That is where impact engineering is very critical for an EV. You should come up with the systems which will avoid this fatality. Then, sir, what about the charging station? Is it it's very difficult to build the charging station in India? So this is a generic question here. I'm not having information to answer this question. And do you think IC engine can be replaced completely by electric version? So this is very important question. Let me tell you, wherever there are range requirements like city to city, right? Load requirements. You know, Indian roads are very tough, right? You need torque, you need torque, you need pull. So can an electric vehicle, can a battery give that? Can the battery manage that real world usage pattern of tough roads and tough range requirements, right? If that is possible, if the technology comes, yes. Otherwise, IC engine will be there, right? Then, sir, can't we regenerate battery power when we apply? Yes, this is possible. People are working on this. A lot of research papers are there on this. Edwin D'Souza, what do you think is the scope of hybrid vehicles in the future? A very good question. Hybrid vehicle. What happens in an hybrid vehicle? It has both IC engine and EV. So what is happening is system is becoming very complex. Cost is becoming complex, right? If you come up with some hybrid strategies, which will switch from IC to EV, and also maintain a cap on the cost of the overall vehicle, then manage the complexity of the hybrid vehicle through powerful algorithms for Indian road conditions. And if you prove that this is a feasible solution, then definitely hybrid vehicles will be the solution. But I could say that hybrid vehicle is a complex system. So if you come up with some algorithms which will take care of this complexity, hybrid vehicle also will be having a business case, right? Next.
Guys, do you have any more questions?
Niranjan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's end of our questions.
Sir, we have two more questions from Avin, KP, and Radvik Punja.
Can you highlight the major, I mean, can you highlight the major challenges faced by automobile sector in EV? So the major challenge I would say is integration of battery, controller, ABC systems with the vehicle for a particular platform application, maybe commercial segment, maybe personal segment, right? How to integrate this powertrain with the vehicle and come up with a low cost, high efficient system. That's a challenge. Then Punja, Ratvik, can we look for the combination of electric as well as an IC engine in a car, right? That's what hybrid vehicle, somebody asked me, that's the answer. Yes. Then battery degradation is a major concern in any electronic devices, right? Will there be such issues in EV cars after paying huge amount of, definitely, battery degradation, but there are, battery supplier has some design verification plans, he does a lot of tests to ensure that the hygiene is maintained in battery, right? Battery life, the required battery life is met before we actually put on the vehicle. So there are design verification plans kept in place at supplier end to ensure this.
I hope that answers all the questions from our participants. So, thank you, sir. Thank you for helping us to take our first step in bridging the gap between the academics and industry. It was a very wonderful session and we got deeper insights on the domain, and I'm sure it has raised curiosity in most of the participants to explore more on this domain. And I also hope that our motorsport teams of the college will also come up with better approaches in their work. It was a pleasure having you with us, sir. I would express our heartfelt gratitude on behalf of McMites and the entire Mite family. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful session.
Thank you. Can I log off?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your active participation and making this session a great session. Thank you, one and all. Have a great day.
Srinivas sir,
Please tell me.
can you hear me, sir? Myself, Dr. Purushottam, HOD Aeronautical, here.
Yeah, Dr. Purushottam, we were there, right?
Yes, sir, that's what I am saying.
Yes, Dr. Purushottam, how are you? How is your family and all?
Yeah, fine, sir, fine.
Excellent.
Once again,
So then we
nice
have
to-
talk.
Yeah, definitely. Sir, I will call you afterwards, sir.
Sure, perfect.
All right, sir. Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. I request